Mother Angelica, the morning after her healing in 1998. Next day, we were told verbally by our department head not to use the word miracle when discussing Mother Angelica's healing.
The miracle had not taken away my appetite.
Thought I would use that as a way to get this thing started, and to assure you that Mother Angelica is not in violation yet of any EWTN policy. Using the word miracle to describe Mother's healing would not be a violation till the following day. The legal word now was unusual. That's what was in the official network memo issued by EWTN President Bill Steltemeyer on Friday morning. So Mother Angelica was spared the shame of being banished from EWTN property since she used the word miracle on Thursday. Time for my yearly remembrance of the healing of Mother Angelica and the reported apparition of the Virgin Mary on the property of EWTN. All of that took place on January 28th, 1998. Mother Angelica had her usual Wednesday night live show, and the guest that night was Father John Karabi. And this year we're going to put the healing in a wider context. I'm going to go back to the previous month, December 1997. On December 18th, the guest on Life on the Rock that night was Sister Briege McKenna. Her topic for that night's program was miracles. And this was 6 weeks prior to Mother Angelica's healing. Here's tonight's guest star, Sister Briege McKenna. And Dr. Hildebrand is still here.
Does God still heal today? Are there still miracles? We're going to be talking to Sister Briege McKenna about miracles and healing next on Life on the Rock.
So for myself, I always found it interesting that 6 weeks before Mother Angelica's healing, the network would have a program on healing and miracles. So from Life on the Rock in December 1997 to January 1998. And on Tuesday, January 27th, Mother had a guest. Joey Lamangino. And his topic was the apparitions of the Virgin Mary in Garabandal, Spain in the 1960s. And again, is this another coincidence? A show about apparitions of the Virgin Mary on the day before Mother Angelica was healed? That brings us up to Wednesday, January 28th. Here you see Mother Angelica walking into the studio with Father John Karabi. The time is just after 7 p.m. Central Time. And if you look closely underneath the table, you can still see Mother has a metal leg brace on her leg. Now it's getting very near the end of the TV program. And Mother and Father Karapi pose for some after-show photos. And the time is about 8 p.m. Here is a still shot I took at the end of the show. This is directly off the video recording. When I switch to the wide image, you can see that Mother still has her left hand holding on to the top of her cane for the left side of her body. So she's still crippled at this time, which is about 8 p.m. And on this night, Father John Karapi is so popular that the crowd wants a chance to take a photo and chit-chat with him. And Mother is able to slip off virtually unnoticed and go into the kitchen area adjacent to the studio and then into her office to pray the rosary with a woman from Italy named Paolo Albertini. And now Father Fox joins Father Karapi to pose for a photo. And Father Lampert from the Sister Servants is up to see Father Karapi as well. And it's probably around quarter after 8 p.m. on January 28th. And it isn't until the next morning that we find out what is happening in Mother's office.
Here we are, we're outside the monastery again, and it's a special day.
Spirit. And we sang Spirit of the Living.
Oh yeah.
We sang it twice. And then right after that, she was on her knees and she raised her hands, and right at that point, she started, it's okay, it's going to take me a minute. She started receiving an apparition from Our Lady.
So listen very carefully to what Sister Mary Claire is telling us.
It's okay, it's going to take me a minute. She started receiving an apparition from Our Lady. And Our Lady gave a powerful message to Mother Angelica that's going to be interpreted later. She taped it.
So this is the moment that we found out about the reported apparition of the Virgin Mary in Mother's office. And a few minutes earlier, we were told that Mother had been healed, and if we all gathered in the parking lot, Mother Angelica was going to come out and show us.
Here she is, the world premiere. Mother has been healed.
Oh, praise Jesus.
There's no braces. Nothing on her shoes. See that?
Want to get away or what?
Whoa.
And not only can Mother walk without her canes and braces, she's even going to treat us to a little dance with Brother Simon. When Mother comes over more toward me, I get the spontaneous thought of trying to get her to stand on one leg.
Shake a foot for us.
Huh?
Can you shake your foot for us? That's it!
That was something that would have been impossible for her to do before the healing.
I don't know. I don't know what to do. You know,
It's new to you. It's new to you, right?
well, I got off my bed today to go to communion, and I thought, well, wow, you know, I didn't know what to do. I was just, I feel like I have phantom feelings. You know, I feel like there's a bracelet, but it's not. But when I start to walk, I walk pretty good, don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, the miracle has not taken away my appetite.
So all of this was taking place about 12 and a half hours after Mother's healing. And it was about 8:30 a.m. on Thursday morning when I shot all this footage.
And through the miracle of video, you are there. As it happens. Well, what do you think about that? That calls for a cigar, doesn't it?
Definitely.
After Mother shows her healing to the employees that morning, she decides to go on the live broadcast of Life on the Rock that night and announce her healing to the world.
Still the 29th of January. And Mother's going to do Life on the Rock tonight and talk about her healing. We got quite a crowd here.
Sitting in the front row at Life on the Rock is the visionary Paolo Albertini. She's the woman with the short hair and the glasses. And here comes Mother, walking into the TV studio in public for the first time ever and not being crippled.
Well, it's I don't know how to act, you know. You know, I'm so accustomed to braces. This morning I went out of my bedroom and I went for my my crutches, and I said, I don't need those. So I walked out, and it's been an enormous. Yeah.
Mother, is the pain gone?
Yeah. I can walk forward.
Our Lord has all kind of more works for you.
Yeah, I don't. You know, when this woman came, I didn't want her to come. I said, God, I don't need another mystic around here.
Yes, you did.
Hey.
Is God good?
And now Mother's going to greet Paolo Albertini.
God has done something extraordinary in the last 24 hours here at EWTN. One of the nuns here in the monastery last night was wearing this. Today, she's not. We're going to talk about that next on Life on the Rock.
And Mother starts out by telling how Paolo Albertini came to EWTN.
She came and she said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "I don't need anything." And I said, "Can I help you?" She said, "No." So that lady told her to come, and she didn't know why she came, and I didn't know why she came. But last night she said she was going to say the rosary at 8 o'clock, and I said she could say it in my office. And so after the show I went over there, and so she asked me to say the first 3 decades. And I said to her, "Well, since she can't speak English," I said, "would you like me to say it in Latin?" And she said yes, so I did. And the fourth decade, she started in Italian, and when she was about the 3rd or 4th beat, she looked up, and I have a big picture of St. Francis and our Lord hanging, down, touching him, and she started talking to Our Lady. So I just sat there with my head down and I prayed.
So, I'm going to show this to you again. The audio is very low, but listen closely. Mother herself will tell you of the apparition of the Virgin Mary in her office.
The 4th decade, she started in Italian, and when she was about the 3rd or 4th beat, she looked up, and I have a big picture of St. Francis and our Lord hanging, down, touching him, and she started talking to Our Lady.
So there you have Mother herself talking about the apparition part of this incident,
And she said,
and then the healing.
"Would you take your braces off?" And I thought, okay. I knew it was going to happen, because I'd taken them off before. And what I thought happened did. Both legs went this way, and one went this way. And so I stood up, and she put her hands out, and she said, "Come, don't be afraid." Well, my body went every which way, and so did my legs. I felt the heat on my ankles. And I thought, wow. So I walked a little bit, and I walked back and forth. And my legs, my ankles especially, instead of going this way, stopped. And they started coming in very gently, very slowly, coming in and straight. Well, I had 2 sisters with me, and I thought they were going to faint. They sat down. I thought they couldn't take it anymore. So I walked up and down, up and down, up and down, and finally opened the door and came out in the kitchen there, and there were 2 guards sitting there chit-chatting. And I said, "Look." And one said, "Oh, you don't have your crutches." And I said, "Oh, and I don't have my braces." She said, "Glory be to God." That's what I wore all these years.
So this is what you have been wearing for how long now?
Well, one of them I wore for about 40 years. And the other one on the right leg about 4 or 5 years. And these 2 about 4 years. This evening she prayed for me again. I also wore a back brace. And so I stand before you without the back brace.
Oh. And so there you have Mother's own testimony about her healing that took place on January 28th, 1998.
It's a one-of-a-kind story.
So once again, there's Paolo Albertini. The woman sitting next to her is her aunt, who traveled with Paolo. Paolo didn't speak any English, so her aunt acted as translator between Mother Angelica and Paolo. And then at the end of the program, Father Carapi joined Mother Angelica and Jeff Cavins. As you saw in the video, 23 hours after Mother's healing, She does a live TV broadcast telling the world a lot of details about what has happened. Today, that's called transparency. So now the live telecast is over. And Mother again greets Paolo Albertini. After the telecast, Paolo is going to go into the chapel. There will be a healing service. And in just a moment, you'll see Sister Agnes with Mother's crutches and canes.
Here they come, the relics.
Sister Agnes was an eyewitness to everything that took place in Mother's office.
So St. Michael's full right now, and the chapel is full. If you want to see what's going on in the chapel, just sit here and watch it, and then they're going to get the sound here.
One detail that Mother Angelica left out of her testimony on Life on the Rock that night: a large copy of this image was hanging on the wall of Mother's office, and during the 4th decade of the Rosary, when Paolo Albertini looked up and began speaking with the Virgin Mary, this picture lit up with a bright light and filled the room. And Sister Mary Claire was an eyewitness to that, and that was part of her personal testimony. In addition, the 2 security guards in the kitchen area outside Mother's office saw a bright light shine under the door of the office, and this is Johnny, one of the guards. And Johnny told us about seeing the light the day after Mother's healing. As you can see from the footage I shot in the parking lot that day, Mother is overjoyed with what has happened to her. However, in contrast to how Mother Angelica feels, there were some at EWTN who were already working, trying to keep a lid on all of this. There was already an attitude of skepticism. I thought it was very odd that while Mother was out in the parking lot with a bunch of the employees, there was no camera crew from EWTN out there to document any of this. And again, that night, when Mother Angelica walks into her TV studio in public for the first time, with no canes, no leg braces, on 2 healthy, strong legs. There's no camera from EWTN that is even recording this. In this still frame from the video, you can see one of the large cameras in the center of the image that was used to broadcast Life on the Rock each week. In this still frame, you can see that they used an extra camera that night on the broadcast, a portable camera, which you can see the guy holding right next to Jeff Cavins. That was the camera I was expecting to see out in the parking lot that morning when Mother came outside with the employees. 6 weeks before Mother's healing, there was a portable camera outside being used to tape a torch procession by the brothers. And it's worth noting that EWTN carried Catholic news events from around the world, and that just a couple weeks before Mother's healing, EWTN had carried Pope John Paul's visit to Cuba and sent crew and equipment down there. Yet, when their foundress and CEO of the EWTN network has a healing on the very property of the network doesn't feel it's something that they need to document. That is something I've been wondering about for 27 years now. Now let's take a look at how the Diocese of Birmingham responded to news of Mother's healing and the reported apparition. Bishop David Foley was head of the diocese at the time of Mother's healing. So it was his responsibility to look in to the healing and the reported apparition of the Virgin Mary. That's standard church procedure.
Yeah. St. Michael. Beautiful.
She just gave that to me. So Bishop Foley was installed in the early 1990s. And so he knew Mother as the crippled woman that she was. And Bishop Foley got to know Mother. And for a time, he even had a TV show on EWTN on Monday nights. Yet, when Mother's healing occurred and the apparition of the Virgin Mary at EWTN was reported, he never seems to have officially opened an inquiry or an investigation to what actually took place. So I phoned the diocese in 2023 and asked someone there if there was ever an official investigation or inquiry. And the best that they could answer me was to say, I'm not really sure. And earlier this year, in 2024, I did the same thing. Spoke to a different person and got virtually the same answer. So Bishop Foley's attitude toward all that seems to have been, it's Mother Angelica who's telling you this. Either you believe her or you don't. So contact with the diocese didn't yield any new information. And it just seems to be one of those situations where it's more loose ends pertaining to Mother Angelica's healing and the reported apparition of the Virgin Mary at EWTN. So it seems even 27 years later after Mother's healing, we're sort of left on our own to decide for ourselves whether it was authentic or not, even with no new information. It still makes for a fascinating subject for me to pursue and make observations about. Now, let's see what kind of observations we have made over these past 27 years. We have different viewpoints from different humans, and that's no surprise. From Mother Angelica, we have a very positive viewpoint, and that's no surprise since she was the recipient of the healing. From the businessmen who ran the network along with Mother Angelica during her lifetime and who still do in the present day, we have a negative viewpoint. From the Diocese of Birmingham, we have a neutral viewpoint, neither favorable or unfavorable. and probably even more different viewpoints from so many different people. But me, I'll stick with Mother Angelica. I believed her testimony about all of this since day one, and I still do.